everyone, jumping right into it. Let me just say this was supposed to be an easier build than the last one that I did. It was supposed to be something kind of relaxing, a little bit more, I don't know, easy. Wouldn't be 10 hours of footage. It was not 10 hours of footage. It was 5, but that's also on me. This is, if you can't tell by the title, a gift shop. It's based off Moonlight Falls. I think at the very end is when I titled it, but it's Moonlight Falls Gems. I really wanted to do a jewelry store, and if you saw my last speed build video, it was roommates wannabe. They originally existed in Moonlight Falls. So 2 of them, the 2 who were like technically only just like part-time workers in the original form, I thought they could open a jewelry store. One's a witch and one's very botanical, I don't know, like gardeny, but also like a villainous Valentine. Yeah, no, but this was supposed to be a way easier build than it was, and I guess it was just only at certain parts. Like, all in all, it was very easy, but there just were certain moments, like when we're watching it, the architecture, the roofing, etc., it was giving me a headache. If it looks familiar to you, and you did play The Sims 3 Supernatural specifically, it was based off the Elixir store. I went into Sims 3 to get some information on the household that does own this shop, the ones that I built the rundown mansion for my save file. We can get into that later, but yeah, it was supposed to be an Elixir or it was based off the Elixir shop. But I obviously didn't want to do like a carbon copy. Wouldn't be opposed, because if it's Sims 3 to Sims 4 and it can be a carbon copy, that means it was a good build, in which is very much a struggle for Sims 4 when the development team is building the stuff. Love that they have other people doing it now. But yeah, no, it was inspired by the Elixir shop because I wanted them to like own something, have a little bit more of an advancement. I've changed other storylines here and there, or just modernize them, etc. And I wanted to switch it up, and I ended up switching it up, obviously. But initially, the way that in my head I was going to switch it up, the roofing was driving me insane. Maybe, I mean, I'm watching it back now, I don't see different ways that I would have done it. It took me a really long time, and I like doing a thing with the roof that I learned a very long time ago, so that way I can add whatever to it, adding a room on top of it, like underneath the roof, so that way whatever. But I think that created a struggle, and then there was a certain point where I got kind of comfortable with the roof, and it was just looking a little bit too like homey for me. Like, the vibes of it were supposed to be a cute little jewelry antique store, very much TVD, like the Vampire Diaries. A lot of my builds are. I love anything that can be kind of run down and mysterious and Vampire Diaries-esque, but I wanted to look like a cute little antique shop that you would, I don't know about Romania, but because that's where Ravenwood's based off of, but I really just wanted it to look like that. But then, like, I don't know, the roof is so specific when you're doing community lots, and especially this for my save file. If you don't know about my save file, then I suggest that you look into it, because it is so detail oriented. There's a lot of different families that came from previous games that I modernize them, and that can just be a whole different thing. I did get one comment in my last video, and I've gotten quite a few requests on Tumblr to make a whole video of my own explaining my save file and running through it, in which I do plan on doing eventually. But that's just like it's a very big project. I want to do it perfectly. It's my save file. I've been working on it for 2 years. There's 2 versions. This build specifically is going into the 3rd version, and I just want it to be perfect. But like, anyways, looking at the build now, I put some fencing down. I don't know why I do it to myself. Maybe I have OCD and ADHD, but like, whatever. I think it's because of that, but like, I love trying to avoid giving myself tedious tasks and then going the most tedious route. So I didn't like the fencing was right there just because of the size of the house I did, so I had to do live edit fencing, and thankfully I'm a little bit familiar with tool mod. But you're gonna see on the screen for a second just me struggling to try to find something that matches this one specific fence. Cool. hand placing the fence and then resizing the part that does match it. Yes, Ashton, easier build. I said something smaller. I think that's where I went wrong with my manifesting. I said I wanted to do a smaller build. I didn't say easier. So in the way that I've downsized, I upsized the tedious nature of this build. I didn't really think when I was doing an antique store, I knew I wanted it to be cluttered and just, you know, filled. I want it to look like she's collected a million different things. Her and Haley. Dee Dee and Haley, sorry. But yeah, I did want it to be cluttered, but I didn't really think like, oh, that means a million shelves. And the million shelves need to have a million items. So it's like I'm already starting with the fence, going by the most tedious nature, where I have to put the post down myself, then upsize it with tool mod to match the current fence because I couldn't find it in debug. And yeah, whatever. But I liked it at the end of the day. I really did like the way that it turned out. I felt like it fit in the environment. I think all of it like came together truly. I did some things that I wish I would have thought of in the past, and I definitely did struggle with the terrain here a little bit because I wanted there to be a little garden patch area because Haley is the one who isn't a witch, but she is very much more nature inclined than Dee Dee, who is, I guess, a spellcaster. So I wanted to make sure there was a gardening area. I did a little bit of like pre-planning for this build where I just created a bunch of necklaces and things. I ended up cutting that out because it literally felt like I was gonna have a seizure when I sped it up and it was going up from the basement, down from the basement, up from the basement, down from the basement, whatever. But yeah, I wanted to have a cute little garden area. In the perfect world, I would have done like a cute little maze and then having like an open, I don't know, area like what I have, more circular maybe. But the lot was too small and I did want to prioritize the building that was going to have everything. And even then, once I started furnishing, you'll see it, but it was really quite a struggle for everything that I planned ahead of time to be in it to try to fit that in. But all in all, I was really happy. And you can see I used a little bit of the get together paneling and whatever. I ended up taking that off just because I just didn't really think that was like, I just didn't know if that was like very Romanian. Ravenwood, obviously the Sims worlds, I feel like they have, some people love it, some people hate it. I don't really have an opinion on it. They generally have like one core idea of what the world resembles, but then they love to mix in multiple different countries and cultures, etc. But the core of it is Romanian. I taught myself a little about tutor styles for my save file. Obviously not enough. I would never call myself an expert in that because I did the bare minimum to make some builds I felt like fit the setting. I just didn't know if tutor was one of those. I don't know if that paneling was a part of it. In my head, it's wood holding up. I don't know the logistics. I've never built a home in real life. I think at some point you might see me like zoom and try to look around just to see like, oh, does any other house have like paneling? And they definitely have wood in the countryside, but I don't know. It just didn't seem right for me. It wasn't, it wasn't part of my story for this one. But then I was like, okay, maybe we do some wood push outs because again, it's two girls who funded this cute little antique store, thrift store, and they're renovating it as they go on. But so I wanted that vibe. Like I wanted to feel like maybe it was like an old house that they bought and then we're renovating it from the ground up and adding different like bump outs and whatever. But then eventually I just decided like, no, I don't really want to mix those things. It's kind of where I have a general problem, is just mixing things I don't think would naturally be on the building unless it's obvious that it was an add-on. And for this, I wanted the whole place to kind of look like, I feel like it'd be very expensive to add like a whole extra 900 square feet to, a rundown house. So I just placed some pillars to separate them from Horse Ranch, and I'm fixing up, I'm just running through. I did something fun with the pillars in the front there. In the Sims 3, I loved that pillars were centered. Or columns. In a perfect world, you could alt place a column. Like sometimes I don't want them to be on the corner, and it is what it is. I respect it. They serve their purpose when I need them to, when they snap to the grid, but then when I do want them to be in the center to hold up a roof piece like that, but also still have a little extra dimension and detail, I hate that they have to go to a corner. It's annoying. So I had to make my own columns, in which took me really, at first I gave up hope. I was like, I'm gonna downsize the roof, and then I ended up finding something that worked. I actually do think it ended up looking pretty cute. You can see I put like a plant there at first, or whatever that is, from debug, and then I was like, you know, I'd have to give up my dream of finding a debug item that looks like it can be a column in place of this. I wonder how long I looked, because this is sped up 13 times. But yeah, I wanted like the whole place to feel oh, I think I'm close. Oh, there we go. That's it. I don't even know. I think that is definitely from debug. But yeah, no, the entire vibe, I just wanted it to feel homey, botanical, a little bit of pink, a little bit of green on the inside. Obviously not new. It's not a fresh build. I don't think anything in this general area is like a brand new build. The whole vibe of the place is, I mean, it's life and death. Like, people have lived here their entire life. But yeah, I think I'm getting towards an area now where we get towards the interior. I am sorry, there were like 3 items that I forgot to delete, because my way of building is placing everything that I want to use when I see it, and then I'll come back to it later. Otherwise, I have object permanence issues, and I will forget about it, and then I'll never place it, even though I think it will look cute, and I'd rather attempt to make it work than it not work at all, or not even get a chance. Oh yeah, I wanted to put this little bump out. You'll see what I did there. Because it is a crystal shop, and that crystal tree has to grow, and Haley is very much the gardener, and blah, blah, blah. The little like green room that I did, it ends up just being a room to focus around that singular tree, because you harvest crystals from it. The other garden's normal. If you personally play with this place, pull out some of the plants, put it on some of the shelves that are available, mark it for sale. I literally put so many plants. Like, I think I even have the death flower, which goes for like $2,000. Yeah, I think this is the part where I'm just like figuring out the general vibe of what's gonna go there, like the windows and stuff, and then I had to remind myself this is not supposed to be home, so I wanted to like limit the amount of windows I put on, so that way I can maximize the space for shelving, etc. In which I think I did a decent job. I'm nearing the interior now, and this is the part where just like reason with me again. Like I just said, I do a lot of I see something, I think it's gonna look good, and then while I was making like the gems or the necklaces and everything else in a separate save file, so that way I could place them on this lot without it being like, oh, I'm making a jewelry store, but there's no jewelry to place. I wanted to make sure I had it, but then I kept seeing things. I was like, oh, that'll look cute. Oh, that'll look cute. Oh, this will look cute. And then I grabbed a bunch of stuff, and then I had to place it down because I just had to. I had to see it all. And I go step by step with it. This is another one of the tedious things I did, was placing. Really didn't take that long in the grand scheme of things. I won't be a complainer. Added a little bit of extra detail. Sometimes I just, when I notice the cutoff of like a tile placed on top of like dirt or grass, I can't stand it, but only when I notice it. I don't plan on doing it with every build. I've done it with a few. But yeah, the interior, very girly, very small business, botanical, whatever. I have like a whole side that's dedicated. My initial plan was dedicated towards jewelry and have a little bit of clothing in there, and then end up becoming like jewelry's everywhere. There's a huge clothing area, and jewelry is a part of it, in which I do actually think turned out fine. Like in the grand, like at the end of the day, I like the way that it turned out. I am very proud of this. I tend to like shy away from just like community lots, because sometimes, I don't know, it took me a really long time to get comfortable being like, yeah, I can build a house. And community lots are very just like, they don't serve the same purpose as a house. So when that's like what I'm used to building, it can be a little bit intimidating. But I think I did make it work here. And also it being more of like a startup business between two friends, I felt more free. Yeah, definitely. I felt more free to make it whatever way I wanted it to be. Sorry, I do have a little bit of a cold. But yeah, just finishing up the windows here. I did struggle for a second to try to find what should go in the front. And I ended up deciding on those windows from for rent because I think they look a little gift shoppy. I don't know if that was really the intent. And then just doing a little bit of landscaping and finishing up the outside before I really get in. And I loved that well. I just thought it was like a very cute, like overgrown thing across from the garden where it's obviously not an active well. And if you know me, you know I love to make it look like vines have grown up a building. I also was being more mindful, at least when I started building this, of like not jumping around so much with the camera so that way it doesn't look so like crazy, so wild, sorry, when it's sped up, because I think it even might be hard to follow when I'm doing it in normal speed, just based off the way I like looking at every angle and I like getting down low and whatever. Definitely, I don't know why I struggle with the terrain. I haven't really been struggling with like landscaping and terrain as much recently, and this one I like wasn't very satisfied, and I think I came back to it in the middle of doing the inside, or maybe I didn't. I know this took me, it was a span of like 2.5 days. I like started it, had to work, did a little bit after work, and then today it was a slow day at work, so, and I work from home, so I ended up doing a little bit and then closing out once things picked up. Oh, here at the lights, this annoyed me so much, but oh well. There's moments like these where I have to like mentally prepare to like, oh, I want to put those fairy lights so that way it will be like the perfect size. But the garden was more important for me for that to be bigger than resizing the garden to make the lights work. It was like, okay, make the lights work with the garden. If you can pick up what I'm putting down. This is where I was trying to find the sign. Every community lot I've ever built, I don't know. I wish wall decor stuff in The Sims, including like the holes and like the dirt that came with for rent, etc., were just had their own section. I wish signs, I think I did decide on that sign, yeah, but I just wish all that stuff was more obvious. Yeah, this is where I definitely cut to a different day, but yeah, I put up that sign to make it definitely look like a gift shop. Then I'm just doing a little bit of terrain painting. I haven't experienced, I'm knocking on wood, the glitch where like the terrain paint deletes itself in so long, but out of habit, every single time I load out of the lot when I'm building, I make sure to save that exact version, so that way if I load back in and the terrain paint's gone, I can just replace it, because it is so annoying to have to do terrain again. This is one of those lots where I probably wouldn't have cared, but like the last one where I did that really custom path, like, and all that going around the pond, around the house with bushes, I would have lost my mind if I had to redo that paint. And then here I'm just deciding some outside lights, did a little bit of tool to take them off the lot, just to make it, I didn't want to impose on the fence that I already hand placed. Yeah, we're so close to getting towards the interior here. Yep, that's me saving the lot, because I definitely had to close it for a little bit. Sorry for that little pause. This is me trying to decide on the door. I have loved, I forget what stuff pack that's from. I have loved that door that's like chipped away and hand painted. I think backyard stuff, patio, whatever, perfect patio. Don't quote me on that. But I have loved that door since it came out. But because we don't have a color wheel in The Sims 4, it's so hard to make it work just in general. Here I wanted to put a little display of furniture. That's me changing the poses. Sorry. Little glimpse at the Sims who own this. But yeah, I've loved that door, so I felt like this was the perfect opportunity. If there's gonna be a little garden room and it's already gonna be, you know, a startup and something that people are fixing up, why not put a little hand-painted door to make it seem a little more personal? I did something fun with the flooring in here, but I ended up covering it all in rugs anyways. But in general, the detail I put into this place was a lot more than I originally anticipated, but I'm very happy that I did it. Here is where, like I told you, I was trying to create an area that was like clothing, but jewelry was gonna be the main piece, but I knew I wanted to sell those creepy like My Sim dolls to like kind of resemble the vibe of like Moonlight Falls. And then like in these shelves, but I couldn't get it right. So I had to, you know, just like rearrange, trying to make it work. And I wanted, yeah, this annoyed me. That paneling, loved. It's like the shiplap. I know it's kind of outdated, but like cute. They put it up themselves. This is like close to the vibe that I ended up going with. Yep, okay. Or close to the layout that I ended up going with. I definitely changed that mirror and changed a few things. And I was really struggling just because I don't do retail stores a lot. And I'm okay, like, move objects placing something onto a shelf when it's not actually snapped into its place. But I didn't know if you mark it for sale, if that's where it would respawn. And because it's going to be in a save file and it's not just for personal gameplay, I wanted to make sure if I put the jewelry down that it's somewhere that, like, if you sold it and did like a restock, it would work again. And then that mirror I used to use all the time and I had to like stop myself. Oh my god, that little thing, that little shelf, probably from Laundry Day, I think, matched perfectly with the Book Nook kit shelves, that it was immediate, like it just had to be there, and it fixed my problem for that. So like the jewelry's snapped into place, so that way hopefully if someone buys it, that you can restock and it comes back in. I haven't actually tested that, but I did play test the place, and I did go in and make sure that everything's marked for sale. I moved the mirror to the other side so you kind of can try things on, because also it is an antique store, or like the thrift vibe, where like if you're seeing clothes there, you're probably trying them on in the moment, or it's a jacket or something that someone thought was cute. There aren't changing rooms, there are 2 bathrooms. So in a perfect world, if it wasn't The Sims, a changing room would be available. Although I don't know if anyone else has noticed, if you've gone thrifting recently, after like the pandemic, they like low-key just like shut off like changing rooms. Oh, love the lights. That was like part of like the botanical vibe that I was feeling for it. And this is where I start stocking the shelves one-on-one. This was a part where I was like, okay, like, dude, this is tedious. Like, I thought this was supposed to be an easier build. Like, just because it's not a mansion didn't make this any easier. Why did you decide that you, like, I don't know. I was actively doing this, trying to make it work, trying to make it look stocked, but also not too stocked. But I think I did a good job at the end of the day. I'd use those water bottles. If you have the basement treasures or whatever, that is my favorite thing to use when it comes to building, because you just place the object that you want to fill that space originally, and then just place a million of those water bottles. You can delete them. They're normally tall enough for the clutter you're placing there anyways, and then you can like freely place if they're in the spot. They'll take up literally every spot. They're like the perfect size clutter item. Oh my, there's only like 10 minutes left of the build. Okay, yeah, so we're doing the furniture. I'm just stocking with like folded clothing, some jewelry. I have to change some things because I deleted something and it made a few of the things disappear, so I had to like improvise last minute, but I ended up making it work. When you look around the place as it currently stands, definitely look cluttered. Wouldn't see hope, wouldn't see a future for this, but trust me, it comes together. I really focused in on this wall because I just figured it was such a main point of attraction, and the other side I like had a plan for it to be a fireplace and like chill out anyways, but I didn't want it to look empty. So like just like clothes, clutter, jewelry boxes, maybe some like whatever I put there. It's an antique store. You're finding things and it can fit in. It's also like, you know, there's not aisles. It's definitely no like Target or Superstore. And it's also like a girly version of Moonlight Falls of all things. Like it's supposed to resemble all these different things. The clothing aesthetic, I'm having an issue where when I dress mannequins, my game crashes. So I know what the mannequins are going to be dressed in is the locked items from Life and Death. And by the time the save releases, it'll be fine. I just have to do it like 5 times over again, and eventually the game won't crash. However, I've done it like 3 times and the game did crash. So annoying, and it's only with mannequins right now. But also I think The Sims in general has an issue with mannequins. And then, okay, yeah, so I finished that wall, and I was like, oh my, I have literally everything else that I freely placed that I intended on including in this building. What do? So this is me trying to make different displays work, because I was realizing the jewelry was not going to work on any of the wall shelves unless it came with that jewelry kit, and even then I can't promise that. So I started looking at some of the get-together stuff, some of the base game, whatever, just anything that could make it work but also make it make sense was my goal. I wanted it to look like this was like hand-built furniture. Like they're making jewelry, they're assembling tables. So yeah, and then I was gonna just originally keep them on these tables like the jewelry on these tables on the like the charging pad, and then I realized that you can't mark them for sale if they're on those. I mean, maybe you can. I actually didn't test it. I assumed you couldn't, just because why not? Did a little bit of tool for that debug sword, in which I don't know, I really needed that sword to be in this build. Don't know why. Maybe someone, you know, unalived one of the vampires. This is where like the rug started, and I was looking at pictures on Pinterest of just like antique stores, and I was like, you know what, let's do a cute little, I don't know, just like let's have a lot of these antique Romanian rugs. Maybe not Romanian, Prxnce? I don't know. And then those curtains were perfect to close off the little platform that I did. Sorry, my voice is kind of low. And then anywhere I can, I'll do like a base wood, but then I also want something that looks like they hand painted themselves to make it look more personalized. So that's like kind of where that high school year shelf came into place. And then I put these columns all around for like support. I end up putting support beams at the end, and then I realized that like it was almost like not cluttered enough, but also like too cluttered in a bad way. So that's when I put that vase over there. I end up putting a few other things in general. This is where you see the other side come together more. I was trying to find a table to hold the remaining jewelry, and I was like, probably not gonna work yet. I don't think, if I remember correctly, yeah, I didn't put jewelry there. I put like more of like the witchy werewolf items, so like wands, some of the bones you have to find. I do have moon petal selling here, and like that fireplace was a main focal point. Like that's like the number one thing that's like makes it so obvious that I looked at the elixir store that came with Sims 3 Supernatural, because they had that like exact section, and I was like, no, that has to be there. Like I do want people or Sims who are visiting to like be interested in here and have something to do. So like maybe it is gardening, maybe you are creating gems. I didn't put many other skill building items, but like the fireplace, at least like somewhere to sit, or like bring your knitting kit, whatever, see who comes in. But yeah, I put a lot of things that are typically harder to find here, and I think in my save file in general I do a really good job of blending occult sims into like the everyday life of just like regular non-occult sims. So there's a shop like this, but then there's also like I do have a plan to do like a high-tech shop eventually. I have it in my library with things I need to put in there, but I'm taking a little break from doing that shop unless I make it more modern. Now that I'm like seeing it, I definitely am writing that down. I've definitely been more monotone just because it's literally almost 3 a.m. as I'm recording this voiceover and also editing, whatever. But yeah, I'm doing some of the curtains now. One of the reasons why I love Tootle-mod is because you can resize curtains. That's like the number one resize that I use, because like there'll be some curtains that need to, I don't know, just fit where I need them to fit, and Tootle-mod comes in handy. Every other time I have to resize, I'm like, okay, this is too much. But yeah, I'm kind of towards the end of the build. I have to do like the whole like back workroom, wherever the owner of the shop, the bathrooms, but I'm also like filling these shelves and whatever, just more tedious behavior of course. But yeah, I think I'm gonna lock out now. I'm gonna put my voiceover. There will be a few more minutes, I think like 5, whatever, depends on what I cut. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to me yap. I really tried hard to do an entire voiceover for this one. Came close, so that's a win. Oh yep, this is me doing Tootle-mod with these rooms. Rotating is, I'm getting comfortable with it, okay? Tootle-mod has taken me forever to get comfortable with. I'm on to rotating, start with resize. Back to what I was saying. Thank you for listening to me yap. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. There's only a few minutes left. There will be a slideshow at the end, of course. Yeah, I appreciate everyone who plays my save or just likes hearing me yap, or eventually will like hearing me yap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you. Hopefully I can continue doing voiceovers more often. I speak kind of quick, so I stumble over my words a lot, but I do plan on uploading more frequently, so this is just going to be a learned talent like everything else, like building. That's the way I'm looking at it. So, just signing off. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for watching. I just did it there. And I will see you all in my next video, which hopefully won't be something that takes me more than 5 hours to do. Okay, bye everyone.